And I'm going to explain today what tarot is, why it's a useful tool when it comes to your health, how I personally use it to support clients, and some ways that you can get started connecting in with this really beautiful tool. Hey, Mama, welcome back to the Thrive Mama podcast. I'm Martina, certified nutrition consultant and holistic health coach, and a mama of two, and I'm so glad you're here. I'm here to help busy moms unlock their energy, balance their hormones, and break out of burnout using nutrition as a foundation. We will dive into actionable strategies on nutrition, nervous system healing, and aligning with your cycles, with a healthy dose of relatable motherhood thrown in, all designed to help you move past surviving to actually thrive in motherhood. Let's do this. It is so good to be back with you, Mama. We had a couple of wild weeks in April. It's been a minute since we've connected in this way. And I was traveling. I went to Boston and I had a week of sick babies and ear infections, and you know how it goes. And I'm really glad that we can connect in here. I know May is like a wild month for a lot of moms with school ending and trips and graduations, and just it feels like really nonstop. So sending you all a lot of strength and a lot of peace as you move through this really wonky month. And I'm really excited to explore with you today a little bit about tarot and nutrition. And if you're like, hang in there, we're going to connect the dots. And let's just like call it what it is. I am the health coach for the woo-woo moms and moms who are really connected spiritually and have a deep spiritual practice. And I support and work with all kinds of moms on all sorts of personal journeys with their health, right? This is not a prerequisite to working together. And this is where my work is really designed from, is in a deeply holistic way that blends together the seen and the unseen to bring balance and thriving into your body. And if you've never worked with me one-on-one or in a private container, or in a coaching container, you may only see the nutrition content on Instagram or the food tips in my emails, and you may never have connected some of these deep spiritual threads that exist in my work. And today's episode is all about one tool that I use along with all of the nutrition strategies to support busy moms in unlocking their energy and coming back home to themselves, to their own bodies. And that tool is tarot. I have a deep practice with tarot personally. It's a real guide and anchor for me in my life, and is something that I weave into my coaching packages, my coaching sessions with folks. And I'm going to explain today what tarot is, why it's a useful tool when it comes to your health, how I personally use it to support clients, and some ways that you can get started connecting in with this really beautiful tool. So, especially if you already have some kind of spiritual practice or understanding, some connection with some kind of greater energy, or if you're curious about connecting deeper to the universe at large. If you don't have a spiritual practice, but you sort of crave that connection, tarot could be a really beautiful door for you to step into that. So, let's start with what is tarot. If you've never worked with tarot before, gotten a tarot reading before, tarot is a set of cards. There's 72 cards, and each card is a different energy, a different archetype of like the human condition. And tarot readers use the cards as a way to get messages, to get guidance, to get clarity on what you may be moving through and what you may need moving forward. There are totally tarot readers out there who are also like psychics and who can actually channel in information about the future. Some tarot readers use tarot cards as a bridge to see what's coming. That is not my area of specialty. I am not a psychic, and I do not use tarot predictively to like read your future. That's not really what we're doing. We use tarot as a guide, as an anchor for the here and now. We use tarot as a way to get messages and clarity and guidance on what's going on right now and what you might need moving forward, how we can support, where we can focus, what we might want to watch out for in our current reality. That's really how we use it as an anchor and guiding light. And I sort of stumbled into this connection between health and tarot because tarot has been such a huge part of my own practice and has been so helpful with me to connect with my body, to connect with my spirit guides, and get information on what I may be needing in this moment, to take moments of self reflection. Like, it's been a game changer for me personally. And as I was working with my clients, I just felt really called to, like, weave it in, and I remember the very first time I pulled out a deck with a nutrition client and was like, "This is really weird, but, like, do you want a card? Like, should we pull some cards? I don't know, you might not be into this at all, but it's cool, I like it. Do you wanna try it?" And she was like, "Yeah, totally, I've never done this, like, what you got?" And it was actually really profound. Not only did we get clarity in that moment about what the client needed to focus on, it started a portal of reflection. It brought in a deeper level of conversation, and we had a pretty big breakthrough in that session about things that had been holding this client back in building new habits. It was a really clarifying moment that the cards brought in for us. And I was like, whew, that was cool. Can we do that again? Can we do that more? So I started asking my clients at our first session when we first started working together, hey, I love working with tarot as a way to support this journey. Is that something you're open to? And I found that people were really eager and excited to get extra support in this way and found it really helpful. So we now intentionally use tarot throughout the coaching journey. In our very first session, a couple times throughout, as a way to close out and get clarity. And we refer back to those messages, to the anchors, to the guiding lights throughout our time together. This is really how I use it for myself as well, and I was just able to, like, weave it in to what I was working on with my clients, and this is really pretty unique. I have not yet seen another health coach or nutrition coach using tarot in this way to get clarity on the health journey. Now, let me be clear, we're not using tarot to, like, diagnose. We're not using tarot to, like, get clear answers about why something's happening in the body. What we are using tarot for is a way to get clarity on what the body may be trying to tell us, what the body may need right now, what we need to be focusing on, anything holding us back from building our new habits, like all sorts of supports like that. So, tarot is not a diagnostic tool, but is a powerful reflection tool. And it's a really unique way to go through a nutrition program alongside these powerful tarot guides. And I know some of you listening already, I'm sure, have a relationship with the tarot and maybe use it yourselves or have gotten readings done for yourself before. And I'm sure you can imagine how weaving it into a health journey would be really profound and really supportive and a beautiful way to connect deeper into what's going on. One question I get about tarot a lot is like, is it magic? Like, how does it work? Why does it work? How is it working? Like, how is it knowing all these things about me? And my answer is always like, yes and no. Like, I consider magic anything that we can't see that is at play, like a force that is unseen. And we know that there's energy circulating in the universe. There's frequencies, there's vibrations, there's currents of energy and fields around us. There's like quantum physics is proving this. And in a spiritual practice, you can really tap into that energy. So if we're calling that magic, then sure, that energy is influencing what we're receiving and how we're interpreting it. And the other way that tarot really works, though, is as a mirror, because each of the cards shows a different archetype of the human experience of yourself. It triggers us, it mirrors to us a piece of ourselves that we can sit with, call on, reflect on, and any of the cards could potentially be helpful in any situation because they are all calling in a piece of ourselves. But I really do find that we receive the exact card that we need in the moment that we need it. And that I do consider to be a piece of the overall forces at play that we can't see. Anyone who reads tarot has all kinds of stories about crazy synchronicities, and you can call them coincidences if you want, like ways that the cards have shown up that defy probability and that are just like spooky clear, like it happens all the freaking time. So, however you want to fit it into your brain, if it's simply a mirror into what you need to see right now, if it is a larger force at play, the bottom line is it works. It brings in incredible clarity and reflection and is such a helpful guiding tool to use in any area of growth or development in your life. So I just want to really double down on this point of tarot as an anchor for the now and a reflection tool into yourself, not necessarily as a way to tell the future, and certainly not as a way to like diagnose what's going on in the body. In fact, if any tarot reader is offering to diagnose you based on the cards, I consider that deeply unethical. And I recommend you do a really deep gut check into how that interaction is feeling and if that really does feel aligned for you to continue with. But as a reflection tool, a mirror, a way to channel in messages, it can be so powerful and so helpful and a really beautiful doorway into the deeper healing that can happen when we are on a wellness journey and when we are tuning in with our body. So, in my personal tarot practice, I have been studying tarot now for about 2 years. But as soon as I picked up my first deck, I felt such a connection. It became such a passion project of mine to just deeply understand this modality. And the very first deck I picked up just really felt like a deep remembrance, of something that I've like always known how to do. And it felt incredibly natural. And I very quickly became the friend who was like, yeah, but can I pull a card for you? Like keeping them in my purse all the time. Like, please let me read for you. This is so fun. So now getting paid to do this is like an actual dream. But I pull cards for myself almost every day as an anchor, as a guide, as some advice for the day ahead. I don't find it helpful to pull like, what is my day going to be like? Sort of fortune telling cards. I do pull cards about what I need to be in, how I can take care of myself, what my work is asking of me, how I can show up as a mother. And that really activates parts of myself that I can reflect on and lean into for that day. I will also often use cards when I'm in a swirly space. You can probably relate to this feeling of having a really loud mind and getting in overthinking spirals or feeling really stuck about knowing what's best or even just knowing what's going on. I will often get feelings from my body and my mind is desperately trying to rationalize them and is coming up blank. It feels really challenging. So I'll be feeling, let's say, like some heaviness and some like grief and sadness. And I'm like, not sure why. Where did this come from? Why do I feel like this? And the cards are really helpful in situations like that. Or I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed about what's going on in my day or what I have to get done. And the cards can give me some medicine for that. How can I stay grounded as I move through that? So I will often pull in the morning and then we'll check in with the cards throughout the day if I need to. And it's a really powerful pause moment for me to come back into myself, to check in with myself and receive a message for how I might move forward. And it is incredible how many times it reflects exactly what I need to hear and the mirror of what I'm moving through and how I can move through it with more grace, permissioning. Sometimes all they're doing is giving me permission to do what I already know I want to do. But having that channel of communication, you can view it as communication with yourself. You can view it as communication with the divine, with God, with the universe, like however you identify with the energy around us and how you move through your life, they can meet you there and be a really powerful tool for that. So, how do I use this with my clients? I want to give you some examples of some questions we might ask so that if you have a tarot practice or you're wanting to start a tarot practice, you can incorporate some of this into your own health and wellness journey. So, I will typically use questions like, what is an anchor or a guide for this health journey ahead? So, if you're doing this for yourself, you can do this maybe once a month. You could do this at the beginning of a program, a process, a new goal. What is an anchor or a guide card for this journey? I also love asking about potential challenges. What is a potential challenge that may come up for me? And that can be really clarifying and illuminating. And I'll give you a few examples of what messages we might get from these questions in a moment, too. We may also ask things like, how can I move through that challenge? What can I celebrate about my wellness journey this week? And one of my favorites is, what is a message from my body today? A huge part of any healing journey, but especially when we are coming back into balance in our body, connection with our body, nourishing our body, it is about just reconnecting to the body as part of us and as a deep gift that we get to steward. We get to steward the gift of our body. And the body holds wisdom that the brain can't understand, will never understand. The body holds the wisdom of your entire life, of your subconscious, of the past 7 generations of your family. Your cells are holding that. Your body remembers so much more than your mind does, than your consciousness. And asking for messages from your body itself can be really illuminating, can be really clarifying, and can show you where you might need to nourish your body, how you might need to meet yourself, maybe a truth that your brain has been sort of protecting you from, that it's time to lean into a little bit. So let's see this in action for a minute. I've got my tarot deck. Let's pull a few just example cards, and you can feel into what kinds of messages come through, and how this works, in action. So let's say for this imaginary client that we're reading for, we want to ask first, what is a potential challenge that's going to come up for us? So I would drop in for us, pull a card. Let's see what comes in. Okay, I got 4 of Cups. Okay, so 4 of Cups would tell us we have a tendency to overextend and try to learn and do and implement everything at once. And the challenge is going to be not letting ourselves get overwhelmed and moving at a pace that we can actually digest, that we can absorb, that doesn't overwhelm us. 4 of Cups is showing us the potential challenge of getting overwhelmed, and that we really need to be mindful to integrate every step before we add on a bunch of new things. What a helpful conversation to have at the beginning of a coaching journey. Let's do another example. Let's see what other challenge may come up for this imaginary client. Okay, we got another 4. We got 4 of Swords. So 4 of Swords as a challenge card is going to tell us we have a tendency to get stuck in our head. We might be in overthinking loops. Our mind might be racing on overdrive a lot of the time. And now, as we start working together, we need to be really mindful of not adding to the overdrive. We really need some space from overthinking and analyzing and logicking. We need some internal quiet. We really need some nature, meditation, boundaries, getting some space, because right now there's so much mental noise, and that could be a challenge. This overdrive mental spirals can make it challenging to really tap into the holistic healing work that we're doing. Super helpful. Okay, let's get an example message from our body. So I would drop in and ask, what is a message from this client's body? And let's say we get the 5 of Pentacles. 5 of Pentacles is saying our body is reflecting a fear of not having enough, a fear of scarcity. It's impacting the body. This might be scarcity of resources like money, but this may also, especially in a healing journey, come up around other resources like time and energy. The body's being impacted by our scarcity patterns, by fear of not having the support that we need. That might be a fear just internally, or it might be our reality. We may not have the support we need, and the body's really feeling that. So 5 of Pentacles really asks us to anchor into what makes us feel supported. How can I see evidence of having what I need around me? And in a healing journey, how can you and I work together to help your body feel safe, secure, resourced as we move through this? Let's get one more message from the body. So as a potential message from my client's body, I might get a message like, Page of Pentacles. So in this scenario, your body would be asking for presence and devotion over perfection. We don't need perfection. We don't need to know it all. We don't need to do it all right now. We just need to be in a devotional practice to our body. We're learning. Our body is learning with us. Our body is reflecting to us, you're figuring all this out. You don't need to know it all, but we need to be devoted to the process. The body is asking for devotion, which also means slowing down, moving at the pace of alignment, not moving any faster than that. It means staying really curious and not judgmental. It means being willing to try new things and just being a student of the body. How did that feel? What happened when I tried that? What happened when I forgot that? How did my body feel? Page of Pentacles is the devoted student. So the message from our body is really asking us to be in that space. Let go of perfectionism. Just be curious and devoted. What a helpful anchor. So there are 72 different messages in this deck. And when they're used with different questions, they can tell us completely different things. So you can see with these cards and questions how much it's bringing us back into reflection and into the deep inner work. Like I often say, if you just want a meal plan, go to someone else. I'm not your girl. Okay. I'm giving you a meal plan, but we're doing so much more than that because if a meal plan was all it took, no one would need me, right? Like you could just go on ChatGPT or go buy a meal plan from someone and you'd be set. That's not how healing works. It's just not. Your relationship with your nutrition, with your self care, with your body is a culmination of so many deep subconscious patternings, internal belief systems, conditioning, ancestral patterns. So much is at play in the way your body functions and feels and responds and how we are treating it with food and with lifestyle. There's so much there. And so we do have to find balance with our food and we have to go into the roots of what is influencing our food choices? Where do we need to start looking at how we're operating and actually upgrade the system to hold the kind of life and body and health and vitality that we want to live in? And tarot really helps us to do that. Now, I love the tarot so much and found it so powerful with my clients that I have started to offer it as a standalone offer. So there'll be a link in the show notes, and you can head over to my website and just check out how that works. But even if you are not a health client of mine, you can get a one off tarot reading from me. We can do it live, we can do a pre recorded one that I send you and get this sort of guidance from me for either your health journey or any other situation in your life that you're moving through. And if you really love this blend of health coaching, personal growth, tarot supports, my one on one coaching containers are totally the place to do that. I don't know anybody else coaching in this way with tarot and nutrition foundations. It's really transformative. So you can, again, there'll be a link in the show notes. You can head over to my website, browse through all the things. Let me know what questions you have. But if you're feeling the resonance of like, this is the way I want to go about activating my health and vitality, I'm your girl. Let's connect. All the details will be in the show notes. And then the last thing I wanted to weave in here is that tarot is not some practice that like only a few special people can do. It's not like you have to be psychic or magical. I mean, I think we're all psychic and magical, but you don't have to have some special gift to read the tarot. Tarot is something you can absolutely learn how to do for yourself. It is a system. And it is very heavily based on intuition and creativity, but it also weaves in a very logical system that you can learn. It's like a language that you can learn to decode. And I just really want to empower everybody that if you're hearing this conversation and you're like, this feels like such a helpful tool that I want to learn how to do it. You don't have to rely on anybody else to do it for you. You can learn it and weave it into your own self care and spiritual practice by yourself. And if you want somewhere to start, leave me a comment below or send me a DM. Like, I would love to talk to you, suggest my favorite tarot decks you could start with, my favorite tarot books for beginners. Like, I just have a lot of places you could start learning if this conversation kind of activates something in you or you feel curious about learning more. But if you're just looking for the messages and the guidance and the sort of reflection tools, the message from yourself or from outside of yourself, you can explore my health coaching. You can explore my tarot readings. You can get support in that way without having to learn the system yourself. So, this was so much fun to talk about. I could talk about tarot literally all day, but I'm going to wrap us here. I would love to hear what stood out from you about this conversation, weaving tarot and wellness journeys together. If you use tarot for your own personal growth or wellness, I would love to hear how you use it and if there's anything you're going to be trying from this conversation. And I am so here to answer questions, witness reflections, anything that comes up that you want to check in with me about. You can use the comments, you can send me a DM on Instagram, and we can connect. And if you found this conversation interesting, I would love for you to share it with another woo-woo mama in your life who would enjoy this episode. Send it her way. Make sure you subscribe, like, all the things that really helps new podcasts get out into the hands of more people who need this medicine. And until next time, take beautiful care of yourself.